All right.
We made it. Let us know if you're there.
There we go. I think I done OD'd on a bloomin' onion.
OD'd on a bloomin' onion.
I got these bright lights shining me in the face too. And I turned off the Wi-Fi this time, so hopefully that'll work out better. But hey, it was Paul Rodriguez's birthday the other day. Happy birthday, Paul. But anyway, this is the Hamm and DHammiam show.
I am DHammiam.
I am DHammiam. I knew I'd get that wrong. But usually it's Hamm and Beer Man. Sporadically, Tracy likes to join in. I think the Beer Man's down in Florida. But we're on every Monday night at 7:30 to talk about NASCAR. Even in the off season, we're going to talk about NASCAR. Because, you know what? The off season's busy too. We're not just a seasonal... We might be considered seasonal employees, but we're not really, because we're busy in the off season working on our NASCAR Super Bowl, which is the Daytona 500. But representing, sporting the Roush Yates shirt, I think it says it backwards right there because
mine's correct right here.
Is it really? Well, be dang. See, I see it on my screen because I'm on my iPhone. I see it turn around backwards, but on the real screen, it's right. That's cool. That's a good thing to know. And I'm sitting on the other side of what it looks like I'm sitting. It's like I'm looking in the mirror on my phone. Anyway, this is my wife, Tracy, my lovely wife, Tracy. She just ate a whole 3/4 of a bloomin' onion.
3/4.
Left me a little bit.
That's because that's all he gave me since it was free.
Yes. If it's free, it's for me.
He's cheap.
I'm a cheap. Well, she's a cheap date. She's not too bad.
Pretty much.
She usually spends more than me because she has, you know.
Not. It's his liquid consumption.
Well, that's because I eat the leftovers.
The
no, that's because I eat whatever's left over, whatever she has left over.
Yeah.
But in case you hadn't noticed, my hair's been growing out because it's my, I guess I considered it my good luck hair. But now that we won the championship, it's time to get a haircut.
And on a side note,
we need a fan in here. We got some new lights up here, and they're like putting out 100 degrees.
That's because you've been running around crazy. On a side note, you guys, we got to skip No Shave November.
Well, this year I didn't do it.
I hate No Shave November.
I didn't do it because last year it didn't work, and the year before it didn't work. So I decided this year I wasn't going to do the No Shave November, but I did do the No Haircut November. So anyway,
the quality night seems better so far, Darla says.
So next year I'm going to do that. Yeah, I think the quality wise, since I turned the Wi-Fi off, thanks for letting me know though, because I'm looking at it on my computer now. It does look a lot better. So I live out in the country, in case you didn't know, and we're on the DSL, which is still like, you know, welcome to the 20th century. You know, the 80s is calling and wants their DSL back. So we haven't upgraded yet, or they haven't given us the ability to upgrade out here in the country yet. So
hey, Jana.
What's up, Jana? Missing you and Scott. Is Scott watching from his whatever his name is?
His YouTube Beer Man?
Yeah. He says he's got one now, but I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't think he's figured out how to log in yet.
So I'm not exactly Scott by any means, but I'm fill-in.
Yes. She looks a little bit better than Scott. I mean, although, you know, anyway, that's another story. So let's see here. We've got some questions coming in. You read questions. I'm going to see what's going on.
For some reason, mine's not working properly. So.
Okay, so, yeah, it was Terry Quinn reminded me this morning. It was 5 years ago today that Brad Keselowski won his championship. But it wasn't with the Ford. So we don't exactly count that. But, you know, it was... but, hey, he's a teammate to the guy that won the championship this year, Joey Logano. Shell, yeah. I just saw that come across the screen. So, anyway, yeah, it was a big time yesterday at Homestead. Tracy, you were rocking that camera like crazy. So, yeah, we had us
I was trying to read the comments.
That was a nail biter. As you can see in my picture for the thumbnail, that's pretty much the way I looked the whole time. I was just like, what's going to happen here? So there.
That's how he looks when he wakes up in the morning too.
By the way, and I know most of you have not ever seen that before. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll take a picture and post it and say, look.
No, it's okay.
This is what I look like.
They don't need to be scared.
Don't need to be scared. It's got the heat bumping in here.
I'm comfortable.
Anyway, so how about them Team Penske Fords, Tom Robinson says. That's absolutely right. It's been a long year for Ford. It's been since 2004. So it's been exactly 14 years ago. My gosh, it's crazy. And you know, we come so close every year, and we think every year we get down to it, we're like, this is gonna be a championship year. Oh my gosh, killing me. This is gonna be a championship year, and then we get down to the last race at Homestead, and it don't happen, and it's so disappointing. Every year we've been disappointed, but you know what? That's turned around. We're not disappointed anymore because we won.
Turn that frown upside down.
I was getting text messages this morning. People asking me if I got chicken biscuits today, but I said, you know what? I didn't get chicken biscuits today. Because I was off of work. Because I'm off all week. So there you have it.
I'm off Thursday.
And it's so nice. Of course, I like my job. I got a good job. But it's nice being off.
I like my job too.
You got a hairbrush over there somewhere? So, yes. Let's see. Hi, Tom. What do you think of the win yesterday? I was thrilled to see Joey get it finally after so many almost. Absolutely. That's the way we are all feeling about it. I think we got, you know, I went on the radio this morning and I talked about the Ford fans. I don't know if y'all got to see that. If you didn't get to see it, go on my Facebook page and you can see where I reposted, where I went on there and talked about how the Ford fans are the most passionate fans that NASCAR has. I've built engines for Chevrolet and now I'm with Ford, thank God. And, you know, it's just unbelievable the difference and how passionate they are. And I said it probably goes back to the Robert Yates racing days with Davey Allison and how he had such a following and the whole Ford, Robert Yates Racing's had such a following of very loyal fans. And they won a bunch of races, so that helps, you know. So we appreciate the loyal Ford fans. And we appreciate all racing fans. You know, NASCAR's you gotta have the controversy, you gotta have the competition. You know, if we didn't have Chevrolet or Toyotas, you know, it wouldn't be as much fun because we'd just be racing against each other. So no competition there, right? Anyhow, glad to see y'all chiming in. Janice says Happy Thanksgiving. So I've had to repost my Spanksgiving song where I was singing Happy Spanksgiving last year. If you haven't seen that, you can go on my YouTube rundown and Tom Robinson says we could do without Toyota. But anyway, if you haven't seen my Happy Spanksgiving video, it's on here too. You can go check that out. It was kind of funny. It's got the Beer Man in it too. I'll have to add that to the playlist for the Hamm and the Beer Man. What do you think, Tracy? Was that funny or what?
Sure.
All right. Tracy likes it when I do that. Especially when I get into bed at night and I start blowing my harmonica. And I got an A, a C, and a G for you. So anyhow, let's see what's going on here. Ted Quinn says hello. And Rob Rodriguez says, hi, Rachel. Have you settled down from yesterday? Yeah, I bet Rachel's still bumping the chip. She was messaging me a lot today.
Bumping the chip.
Yeah, that's a racing term. It's a technical term. You know what bumping the chip means? That means when it's actually called a rev limiter on an engine. So you can actually limit the amount that an engine revs up as far as RPMs. And bumping the chip means that you're... And so that limits the revs on the engine. That keeps the driver from blowing the engine up, basically. So call it bumping the chip. It means you're high on, you know, keyed up. So let's see what's up. And we got, I heard today that Amarola got a penalty for loose lug nuts improperly installed. And my guess would be that he probably wasn't the only one. I know I saw Kyle Busch take off at one time and he had missed one. But I don't know if he had to come back in or not. They may have just felt sorry for him because he was having some really some bad pit issues yesterday until the last pit. So there's no excuse because that last pit he came out in front. He was the front row. He was in the front pit stall, and he still didn't win the race. So, you know. Oh, Jenna's asking for some tunes. Give us a few holiday notes.
Holiday notes.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
You can watch my eyes in the
Happy
pictures.
Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to you. All right.
Woo, glad that's over.
Glad that's over. All right. So what else we got here? Rachel, hello, Brian. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Thank you, Darla. She says congratulations.
Who's eating now? We ate it out
Ooh,
back.
no, Terry Quinn says, who is eating crow?
Oh.
Martin Truex. That would be my guess. Because he said Joey Logano was not going to win. He was going to win. So you could pretty much tell in his interview, he was, I don't know if disgusted was the word. Did you see his interview?
I don't think so.
He was not a happy camper. And so he was not happy with that. But you know what? Here's what happened. Joey Logano. All right, so here's Truex. Truex is leading Logano. And they're going around the track like this. Here comes Joey. Well, actually, it was more like this. Here comes Joey. And then Joey took off and never looked back. And Truex was not going to catch him. And you know what that is? Roush Yates engines horsepower. That's how he blew right by him just like that in the straightaway and took off. So if that ain't a team effort, I don't know what is. You know, Joey's got the lead foot. Roush Yates engine's got the horsepower. Penske's got the cars. And made it happen. So it don't get much better than that. And won the championship. And got another ring. So anyhow, what do you think about that, Tracy? What do you think about the win? I know Tracy was in the house watching, and I was outside. I was out in my shop. Me and Dad were out there. I had the propane heater going for him, and eventually ran out of gas, but we were chilling, and I sat down for a little bit, watched the end of the race. I had it going while I was working for a little while, and
well, I immediately text you once he crossed the finish line.
Yeah, you did. That was a nice surprise. So I wrote down some chicken scratch notes here because I had some notes on my phone, and then for some reason I think I hit the wrong button and it just cleared them all out. So I hurried up and wrote down some. So I got some comments just now. Let's see here. Tracy, can you not see the comments?
No.
All right then.
I have to have my glasses on.
Well, what? Okay. I guess I'll just wing it. So, Brian Spencer, are you going to cut it during a live telecast?
Cut what?
David, the quality. Okay. Oh, I don't know. I think that was a little bit. Oh, that was before Jenna said hello from Florida. So, chime in where y'all are watching from. Or, yeah. So, we got Jenna in Florida. We got Tom in Indiana. I think that's probably the biggest spread of people so far. But you know what?
Oklahoma.
I was going to say Terry's out in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Paul is in Florida.
Where Roy Clark's funeral is going to be, by the way. Okay, so yeah, the Keystone Corner's in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Oh, and the Simpsonville, SC Pro Kids, Simpsonville. That's where my uncle.
Simpsonville, you got the $1 billion lottery ticket. You're not turning in yet.
Did you win?
He's not going to tell because it's anonymous.
Did somebody, what? Oh.
In South Carolina, you can remain anonymous.
Oh, well, that's no fun. Somebody wins a lottery, but you don't even know. Hey, there's Scott. Scott does have one.
Yay!
His wife finally got my channel working. Thank you, Jana. Did he subscribe to me?
What would they do without us?
Yes.
They're helpless.
Oh,
sometimes.
David, I was the guy who was talking to you in our group. Okay, cool. Keystone Corn. Good deal. Appreciate that.
What does that say? D. Leon Springs, Florida. Well, Scott, we know where you're at.
Scott's down in the Springs. Hanging out in the
Jealous I'm not
Springs.
there.
You need to take one of my kayaks down there, Scott, next time you go. Because I'm not using them here.
Conrad can swim on it.
Yeah, he said my wife finally got...
the bull.
Conrad is the bull. Oh, the bull down at the Scott's farm in Florida. Yeah. SC Pro Kid says, I wish I did, but it was sold about 6 miles from me. Just think about it. You came 6 miles from winning the lottery. And then you could... What would you do if you won the lottery? What would I do if I won the lottery?
We know what I would do.
I think I'd still be going into work.
He's crazy. He would not, because he'd be traveling with me. He'd be driving my little RV.
Okay, I'd tell my work, hey, listen, I'm going to take next week off. If you don't like it, I'm sorry.
Next week?
Yeah, okay, I'm going to take the next 2 weeks.
I'm going to take 6 months.
I'm going to take 6 months off. If you don't like it, all right, then fine, I won't.
Who wants a travel buddy?
Hey, sponsor a team, Penske and Wood Brothers. Yeah, that would be cool. You know, I could see doing that. If I had way extra money, I could definitely see sponsoring a race team. What would I say, though? Hamscapes, DHammiam. Who said we have a new baby? Oh, baby cow today, yeah. Scott. I thought he said we have a new baby on the way.
Did we figure out if it was a boy or a girl?
She said something about a third calf. But anyway, I thought he was saying we had a new baby on the way. Jana?
Well, they had Daisy.
Lord have mercy.
Daisy was the first
something you
girl.
didn't tell me. Scott says moo moo.
Moo moo.
Yep.
So nobody
Keystone
answered.
Corner, I need a ride.
Who would be my RV driver since David doesn't want to take off work? I mean, really?
I'll take off. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't want to say. I still gotta go to work. I don't have to go to work till next Monday. Did I mention that? Anyway, so back to the racing. Joey Logano was not in the big three. You kept hearing all season long about the big three. So I guess he was the number 4 of the big three. You know, 4 out of 3 people have trouble with math. Just saying. So anyway, he ended up
Some people can't spell
beating
either.
the big three. Some people can't spell. But you know, everybody's got their issues. I'm not that great in math.
EYES.
But I can spell really good. I'm kind of like a spelling Nazi.
That's why he knows what
Tom.
EYES means.
Oh, now that's another story. That was a brain trick.
Y'all watch my YouTube video.
Oh yeah, Tracey's got a YouTube now. It's I am DHammiam. Check it out, her YouTube channel, and she's got a video of me on there trying to spell. What is EYES? David, what does EYES spell? Is? No, spell it. EYES. Yes.
It's funny. Y'all watch it.
Yeah, you just had to be there.
We can't give it away.
Yeah, it's yes, Scott, I agree. Joey Logano will make a great champion for our sport. He's a good kid.
Baby is a bull.
Named
Dickie.
SC Pro says, spread the wealth and helping us and following my driver, Kevin Harger. I love to follow the schedule. Yeah, we need to win. We need to get you in a Wood Brothers Keystone, Rachel. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. Everybody out here, buy me a lottery ticket, and if I win, I'm going to sponsor a race car. How's that? You think they'll do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'll share with you. If I win, it'll be an automatic $100,000 for everybody watching this show. Including you. I mean, you're watching too. I see you right there. Anyhow, okay, so any favorite memories when you saw Joey? Yeah. Oh, no. Paul Reagan says, I'm a professional. I could drive the both of you in an RV. All right, so my one of the times, Joey actually comes into the shop a good bit. Him and Brad.
Thank you, Paul.
Excuse me?
I said thank you, Paul.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Paul. Anyway, they come in a good bit. But we had a burnout competition. And
which is on David's YouTube channel.
Yes. Oh, you know what though? I had to take down the one of Joey Logano because I probably shouldn't say why.
Oh,
one of these days I'll put it back up. But anyway, Joey Logano come out there in a car, and I can't say what kind of car it was because that's why I had to take the video down. And he goes out and he does this serious kick butt burnout in this other manufacturer car. And then he gets out and holds up the steering wheel, whatever. All right, wait a minute. I'm getting mixed up with another guy that I work with. He had a Camaro. He did a big burnout. And this guy gets out and holds up his steering wheel like Joey Logano, which was pretty funny. But yeah, Joey did a really awesome burnout. So let's just say when it comes to burnouts, Joey Logano's kind of a big deal. I mean, really. But one of these days that video is going to resurface, and it's pretty cool. But you could see his burnout he did after he won Homestead. That was a championship burnout. The engine, the steam was shooting out because that means the engine's overheating. The water's got to go somewhere. And he blew out the tires in the rear. That was really cool. So, David, do you think the Highline was going to work on Sunday? Do you think the Highline was going to work on Sunday like it did on Saturday? Did I think that? You know what? I didn't see Saturday's race, so I couldn't answer that question. But I did see Sunday's race, and it looked like the middle lane was working good because it looked like the guys that got up in the high lane ended up bumping the wall. Look at the 42. Scott, were you happy when that happened? I'm pretty sure he might have been happy about that. So anyway, it looked to me like the you know what, the fastest way around a track is the shortest distance, right? Isn't the shortest distance the bottom of the track? Think about it. But if your car's set up to ride up near the top or the middle, see, it just depends on what your car's set up for. Depending on how much camber you got, how much caster you got, tire pressures, how much horsepower, you know, all that stuff factors in.
Scott loves the 42, Tom says.
Oh, yeah, Scott, man, the beer man and the 42, they go way back. Now, see, I used to be a big 40. I'd sign David Hamm, draw my little jack, and do a 42. But you know what? Moved on. It's a different life now. But Scott said, I thought it was a great weekend. All three manufacturers won a title. Scott, what are you doing? He says yes to Tom Robinson's question there, or statement about the 42. That's funny. I can't ever tell when Scott's being sarcastic.
Especially
just like
when you
even
can't
whenever
see him.
we're, yes. He's, let's see. I'm trying to read my chicken scratch here. Oh, Robert Yates Racing. Robert Yates Racing was the founder of our company. So, but what I had down in my notes was RYRE, which is Roush Yates Racing Engines, 150th winning engine this weekend. So we've also won since, sorry, I got a reminder popping up on my phone I got to get rid of.
Can you hit that X? Oh, no.
But since we another reminder. All right, but since we started Roush Yates Engines in 2004, I believe this would have been 352 wins across all series, meaning all the different series that Roush Yates Racing Engines is involved in right now, including building engines for Chip Ganassi's those cars that they run over there in the Sebring and all these places. But anyhow, we have won, I believe that's 352 right now. Man, my phone's just blowing up with notifications. Sorry, y'all. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. 150 cup wins
Tom
with this
Robinson
win.
asked, have you guys started on the new engine package?
Yes, we have started on the new engine package because, you know, if y'all don't know, next year NASCAR has some new rules in effect.
No kidding.
That are what?
I said no kidding.
Oh, the new, yeah. Excuse me, old blooming onion. But anyway, NASCAR has some new rules coming up that basically, y'all have heard of restrictor plates, right? So we have a, all right,
I don't know
so
what that is.
we have, you know,
Can you
restrictor plates are
comprehend
just
restrictor
really
plates?
thin restrictor plates, and that's what you run at Daytona and Talladega, the big tracks, the 2 mile,
That's the
2.5
airflow,
mile
right?
track. I say 2 miles, sometimes they're wrong. Anyway, it cuts the airflow to the engine, air and fuel mixture. Yeah, so the less air and fuel mixture you got going into the engine, the less horsepower it's going to make. So now we're going to be running I say now, we've been running a taper spacers, okay? But now we're running a taper spacer on everything, and it pretty much limits the amount of air into the engine, which therefore reduces the horsepower to like 550 on some engines and 750 on others. So that's why NASCAR is going to try to get racing back, try to get the fans back, and I think the fans are already coming back. But that's the way that they're trying to get racing back to attract more fans to have the racing back. So we'll see how it goes. But you know what that means when you talk about giving Roush Yates racing engines restrictor plates. Somebody just said it. Who was it? That said Roush Yates restrictor plates equals all right.
I'm having a hard time
Tom
reading.
Robinson said it. Restrictor plate equals advantage RYE. Yes, absolutely. So we're all over it. We started on it already. I'm sure the other teams are too. And I mean, you know, we're just hitting it pretty hard because we got a whole week off at Thanksgiving and a whole week off at Christmas. And when we come back from Christmas, we'll be ready to, you know,
Here's a question.
we'll be ready to go.
Is there a big difference between a short track
And an intermediate motor.
or intermediate motor in the new package?
Well, basically, short track and intermediates will be about the same, but the super speedways will be less. So, which is actually what it is now. I mean, when you go to an intermediate track versus a short track, you might have a little more torque on a short track, which you can usually adjust the cam on that to make that happen, and a few other differences, intakes and stuff like that. But now it's going to be metered through that tapered spacer. So we'll see how it goes. It should be interesting. You know, back in the day we used to talk about maybe you don't want so much horsepower because you're going to spin the tires coming off the corners, especially on the short tracks. But we've done some research on that over the years and got it down to where we're winning Martinsville now, which hasn't usually been a Ford track, or at least not for the past 10 years, but now we're on it pretty much every track. So as you can see this year with 21 wins, 21 or 22, gosh. So it was more than 50% of the actual races that we won this year with Ford. So yeah, Rachel said Ford's taking over NASCAR. That is a new change. Too late to Toyota.
Tom says they're going to run the engines more than once.
Yes. We'll still run the engines just like this year. I guess that was NASCAR's way of cutting back the cost, running the Cup engines, the short blocks, more than once. So basically you run the pistons, rods, crank, oil pan, the bottom end of the engine, camshaft, all that stuff you run twice.
Oh, now I can see.
And then we bring it back, pull the heads off, swap heads, and intake, whatever we want to swap, and send it back out. So that's I'm pretty sure I haven't heard any changes for that for next year. So anyway, I think that's probably so. Oh, Terry sent me something today. 17 get okay. So Joey Logano finished 17th last year. So no driver in the modern era since 1972 finished worse than 13th and turned it around to win the Cup. I think she means turned it around to the next season to win the Cup, to win the championship. So that was kind of an interesting little bit of trivia there. So the Keystone Corner says, as far as you're concerned with the truck series, is the NZ1 or the manufacturer motor better? Well, the way that it's looking is, you say the manufacturer motor meaning Elmore. It seems what they're doing is they're trying to even out. It's kind of like we started going back to building for Thor Motorsports, which is okay. I got mine blank. The '88 truck, Matt Crafton, and but then they go and they change some of the rules. NASCAR did, so it's kind of like there's sorry, I got notification again. you know, it's up in the air. We'll see how it goes next year, but it seems like whenever we go back to using the engines from teams or then some of the rules get changed a little bit. So I don't know, at this point, I don't know who has the advantage. Crate engines or, you know, the ones that are built by the teams. So, Super, I just started following you not too long ago. Do you build motors on the side? Well, I have in the past. I've done some for dirt tracks and stuff like that, but
South Carolina.
I prefer doing engines for old tractors and, you know, some street car engines, stuff like that. I don't get much into doing the race engines. It's more of a hassle, you know, and that's sort of like, it can be considered a conflict of interest in my business, so, or in my, you know, where I work and whatever. So I try not to get into all that stuff. I just assume it's a lot of stress too. You think about it, you build engines and then you start getting phone calls every Friday night, Saturday night from people, hey, you know, what's wrong with this engine? Or, you know, it's just too much to deal with. I'd rather build an old tractor engine for somebody and then they go out and they're happy as it could be riding around on their old tractor, you know. And it keeps those things alive because that's history, especially the old Ford tractors. But I just like to keep them all purring like kittens. So let's see. So Dodge is a quitter.
So Keystone Corner, you say your name is Patrick, but Keystone is your nickname. Is your nickname Keystone because of the beer?
That's a good question. Is your name Keystone because you're from Pennsylvania? Or because you like Keystone beer? He said no.
No. Well, tell us the answer.
He's incognito.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, there we go.
Well, he already said he was in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I was having a smart moment there.
It's
a Keystone State, right? Something like that. Who drove the, this is a trivia question. Who drove the Keystone sponsored car? The Keystone beer sponsored race car? I say back in the day, it would have been 1995 maybe, 96, somewhere around there. So who still thinks it's a little early, Jeff Gordon, to be in the Hall of Fame? Well, compared to some of the other drivers, hence, Rachel said. Okay, back question. Compared to some of the other drivers, yeah, probably a little bit early. I mean, you know, I think.
Keystone Corner
get some of the ones that are still around.
He says, how long have you been watching NASCAR, and have you ever tried to race?
Yeah, I got to answer that. I'm gonna go back to a hint for Rachel. No, it wasn't Bodine. Maybe Bodine did drive it, but the hint would be his name used to be. They used to say his first name, and then they'd say Falling Back. Okay. Yeah, Mark Martin's an awesome guy. Yeah, there you go. 16 back. That's right, Paul. All right. So what was that question again? I'm sorry.
How long have you been watching NASCAR, and have you ever tried to race?
Oh, have I ever? I've been watching NASCAR since I was a little kid. I watched it back whenever David Pearson was driving. He was my favorite driver first because he had the same first name as me. And then my neighbor across the street was a big Richard Petty fan. And I wasn't a Petty fan. This is probably 1976. David Pearson was my favorite driver. And then Kel Yarborough come along, and then he was my favorite. And then, have I ever tried to race? I've only raced go-karts. I raced go-karts for a couple years. And I built my own engines, and that was a lot of fun. So, there you go.
He also says a question. Let me find it again.
Yeah, that was good. Paul got that answer. That was.
As far as you're concerned with the truck series, is the NZ1 or the manufactured motor better?
I was reading that question. I'm sorry. Is the what?
NZ.
Oh, I already answered that. Yeah, that was what I answered. Yeah, I don't know. So Scott says, did anyone hear the Ford Motor Company bought a scooter company, and Ryan Blaney gave one to Claire B. Lang? He gave. All right, are you being for real?
South Carolina Pyro Kid, yes, David does build motors on the side.
Yeah, just I just try not to do too many race engines on the side just because they're a headache. But I could see Claire B. Lang riding around on one of them little scooters. I mean, you know, she puts in some miles on the weekends. So yeah, Scott's Direct. Okay. Wow. No, I did not hear about that. But that's pretty interesting.
Take your jacket off, you're hot.
Yeah, I should have done that to start with. Why didn't I do that? Anyway, Stedman Marlin also drove the Keystone car. Oh, okay. I don't remember that, but that's cool. Old Stedman. Wonder what he's up to now. I hadn't seen him. Gosh, he was young man last time I saw him. He just liked to have a good time. Kind of like his dad. Also, Keystone is known as the stone that holds the archery together. So meaning the Keystone is the captain of the team. Another reason I made my name. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. I like the Keystone. They probably could have done a little better with their beer, but you know.
He's wanting to test your knowledge.
Yes.
He's wondering, is there anything else he could do to gain more power without taking away from the liability in his 4.6? He's got an F-150 with the small Diablo tune headers and exhaust.
Cold air box, maybe, you know. Google search.
Google search.
Yeah.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, because there's all kind of aftermarket parts for these things. So people are always putting this stuff out there, but you know, some people swear by the old cold air boxes, you know, and I mean, they might help a little bit. Without really dyno tuning stuff, you don't really, you know. And I mean, you can't change a lot on like cam timing and things like that or intakes because it's all fuel injected. So then you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to adjust the chip. The chip, meaning you're going to have to adjust the fuel curve and all that kind of stuff. And then you start putting nitrous to stuff, and the bearings aren't made for nitrous, and you end up breaking parts. So yeah, I mean, we could go really in depth and make more power. It just costs a lot more money. First, you'd have to pull the engine out.
Money talks.
Pull the engine out and just throw in some aftermarket parts.
Boomer's Backyard says he has a 51 Alice Chandler's that he plans on fixing up. David's restored a John Deere before and has another one waiting to restore.
I've worked on the old Alice Chandler's B tractor and a D. I actually talked to a guy yesterday, old Sam Parker, 75 years old, retired. He collects Alice Chalmers, so I've done a lot of work for him. And yeah, he worked for Alice Chalmers years ago. Anyway, he just bought 2 new Alice Chalmers tractors he's wanting me to come over and work on as soon as I get caught up. So we'll see, because I'm a busy man, but I love working on those, so I try to make time for that. Favorite memory?
Favorite memory of Pearson. I've seen that question twice.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? I've met David Pearson, and I was pretty much starstruck because between him and Kel Yarber, when the first time I ever met them, and Smokey Unit, and there's been others, but anyway, those are the 3 that kind of stand out. And I was just like, you know, so
imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, just such a cool guy. Cool, calm, collected, suave. But
sounds like you got a man crush.
you know, yeah, we were talking. I was talking to some of the Wood Brothers about them because when I first met those guys, I've been building engines for them, for the Wood Brothers team for what, 14 years, 15 years. I think they came on with us 14 years ago. And when I first started talking to them, one of my first questions was, "What about? How'd you like David Pearson?" You know, and then they would tell me, they would pretty much say that he was one cool guy, and but I know they ended up having some issues. They ended up splitting up at one time, but you know, that I didn't really get to know David Pearson a lot. I wish I had. I know he started out as what was the Fox? He started out as a Fox, and then eventually they changed it to the Silver Fox. But you know,
so Scott says, how many times did the Silver Fox and the King finish first and second?
Oh gosh, wasn't it like 60 something times? It was some outrageous amount of times. And then there's that one.
Saying her friend's saying 31.
Then there's that one Daytona. Was it Daytona 500 when they crossed the finish line? and David Pearson crossed it because he didn't stall his engine out, but Richard Petty stalled his out. So David Pearson won that race.
All right, another question. What got you into engine building and racing in general?
What got me into racing in general, because I wasn't really sure at first I was going to be an engine builder, but what got me into it was I went to, well, let me back up even more.
Back up to childhood, please.
So, yeah, so when I was a kid and I would ride my bicycle, I would ride by Dygard and Home and Moody and Whitcomb and Kelly Arbor Motorsports, all those places down there. And I'd tell Roush Yates' story, and he would smile and say, "Did you hear the engines running?" But I'd ride my bicycle by Dygard and I'd hear the engines running, you know. I always was just fascinated by that. And I knew...
Who doesn't like the sound of a good engine?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I was a kid, Charlotte was Race City, USA back in the day. And, you know, then everything started moving up to Mooresville, and then that became Race City, USA. But when I was a kid, it was wrestling and racing. Those were the sports in Charlotte. Charlotte, North Carolina, Race City, USA back in the day. So I was just, you know, I decided that whenever I got to be a teenager that that's what I wanted to do. So one day I was working in the food service. I was working down at General Tire in the cafeteria as a manager, and I was 18 years old. And I said, I want to get a job in NASCAR. So I figured out what.
I thought you were going to tell the story about your dad.
Oh, okay. Go back to when I was about 15, and we were hanging out at dirt tracks. And then I would see my dad would be looking at these guys over there. I remember it's just like it was yesterday. This guy was over there. He had his timing light. He's there setting the timing on the engine at the dirt track. And I just remember looking over at my dad, and I was kind of like, my dad thinks that guy's really cool. He's impressed by what that guy knows what to do. And he used to talk about my old neighbor. His name was Gene Thrasher, and he was a huge Ford man, Bill Elliott fan. And he was a heck of an engine builder and a mechanic. So I said, you know what, that's what I'm very interested in that. And so I got my first dirt track car. I was probably about 16 years old, and for like $150, and it was a Toyota. And I never did race it.
Capri.
But I got it running. That was the big thing. It was like a 78, and I actually got the thing running with the help of that neighbor across the street. But you know what? I learned something, and I was like, this is really cool. I get to fix it. So I had to get a job, you know, I had my daughter and all this stuff when I was 17. So when I was about 18 working in food service, and I decided that I'm going to get in NASCAR. So I went to school down in Charlotte at Central Piedmont. I do see that. No Toyotas. So I went to school down at Central Piedmont and got my degree in automotive service educational program. I got an associate's degree. And my first day in brakes class, the instructor was like, what do you want to do? Why are you here? And I said, because I want to get a job in NASCAR. And he said, well, you know, that's hard to do. You got to know somebody. It's hard to get into NASCAR. And I was like, well, that's what I want to do. So you know what? He challenged me. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So 5 years later, I got my first interview, and the rest is history. That was in end of 94 when I started at Sapco.
So a little lesson is if you want David to do something, tell him the opposite. Do reverse psychology.
She does it all the time. She says, just leave your shoes right there on the floor. So
no.
I'm like,
he's telling
I'm going to get those shoes put up on the rack. I'll show her.
Yeah, he does. He says it's his house. He's going to do what he wants to, regardless of who cleans it.
Regardless. That's it.
Okay. Huh?
Nothing. All right, what's the next one? Honestly, I'm 19. Do you think it's too late for me to start trying to race? I would really love to. Trying to drive, I guess is what you're saying.
What's a spin scooter?
I don't think it's too late. Man, if you got the talent and you can do it, do it. Because a lot of it is you got to be a little bit crazy anyway. You got to be able to put the hammer down on that gas pedal. So if you got that, go for it. But you got to be smart too. That's like Ernie Irvin one time. I was talking to him. I said, what's the difference between you and Jared? He said, well, you know what? When I was driving, I was just crazy. I would just do. I wasn't thinking. I just wasn't. You know, he's swerving Irvin. He said, but Jared uses, he's got a little bit more sense to me than, you know, so anyway.
Oh,
yeah, you got the green flag. Go for it. Hey, if you got a goal, if you got dreams, you just need to go do it. Don't listen to what anybody else says.
So one question, how does it feel when you see or hear about one or more of the engines letting go on a weekend?
Well, I never like to hear that. It don't matter if it's somebody else or ours deal. You know, I don't like to hear it. I mean, now, if they're winning a race and we're running second and then it happens, you know, I hate it for them. But anyway, you know, it always makes me cringe a little bit, because here's another way to look at it. A lot of times different engine companies are using the same manufacturers. Not always, but some of the parts we use the same. And if one of them lets go in another car, then what's the possibility that it could let go? And you know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's about it. So yeah, put your videos on Keystone. We'll check them out, you know. And so hit like on this video, please, and hit subscribe, because what that does is whenever YouTube sees it, they see people like it, and they put it out for more people to see it. And that's what we want. We want to get more people on here. We want to get more people watching the video, and more likes, and show the love, and all that kind of stuff. And if you got your own YouTube channel, I'll subscribe back when you subscribe to me, and vice versa. And
subscribe to
Nancy
me too.
Davidson, hey Nancy. You can go back and watch this video, by the way. And I need one good question. That's right, 4 people, Tom. 40. I need one good question. When
I am DHammiam.
When this video is over, I want to start some questions and answer sessions, okay? Don't do it on here, because the bad thing is I can't go back and answer. I can't go back and we can go back and see them, but I can't go and respond. So when this video is over, go on there and just start answering questions and such. All right, answer questions, and then we can communicate to each other through this. So it's not on this live feed right now, but it's when you go back, probably in about 5 minutes, and watch the video again,
Replay.
or you go hit replay, or you just go back and look at the comments. Then you go back and make comments. And if you got any more questions for me, then ask them right there. Otherwise, check us out on Monday nights with the Hamm and Beer Man. And we'll try to do our shows.
Beer Man.
Or Hamm and I am DHammiam.
I am DHammiam.
Yes, we'll be doing our shows either out in my shop or over at Beer Man's Beer Cave, Man Cave, or his Tiki Bar. You know, we might even do one at my Tiki Bar sometime. Not quite as fancy as Beer Man's, but it's some, you know, I'll put it together, made out of some pallets. So it's got some nostalgia to it, you know.
Row, row, row your boat.
So, hey, and we might even do some lives. If y'all have a location, an idea for a location that you think we could do a live at, somewhere locally maybe. We'll see.
I say we go to Florida.
Well, yeah, duh, Florida. We had one we did in Florida not too long ago, but hey. Anyway, go on there and throw out some comments and questions and such after this video is over with. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and then we will see you guys next time. And
Hut Strickland's house.
What's
Hut Strickland.
Oh, over at Hut's.
That's
a good idea, Tom.
Outside.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Shelter shed.
I actually started to send Hut this link, but I know he sent me a picture. He was down in. Well, I know he sent one to Tom too. He was down in the Bahamas, but last week.
Aruba.
Yeah, no, he was in Nassau, or he was in Grand Turk and Nassau. Anyway,
I saw Aruba.
Yeah, so we'll go over to Hut's sometime and do that. That sounds like a good time when Tom comes down. Yeah, I saw he's back now, but we'll get Tom and Beer Man. We'll go over there. We'll get the Allison boys together. We'll bring our banjos and guitars, and we'll have us a jam session and do us a live there.
Tambourine.
And that'll be a good time.
Tambourine.
Yep. All right, y'all have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to comment, click like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and go check out our other videos on here too. So we'll see y'all next time. Bye. Bye, y'all.
Tracy, son of a son
Bye,
of a
y'all down in Florida. Yeah.
I'll practice it, Scott.
Yeah, there you go. Practice your singing.
Bye.
Son of a son of a sailor. Bye, y'all.